Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today I want to talk about exotics, and specifically a big change that happened with one of the new exotics introduced in Season 11, and how that change could be carried forward to other exotics that we get into the game's future, and why I think it's so important. So before we get any further, let me go over this tweet that the game put out yesterday, which has kind of sparked all of this conversation, and you should understand more once I read over it. So they posted this, as I said yesterday on Friday, and they said, "The Sacrum Imperium has descended in all of its glorious splendor. Which do you prefer, an attribute set in stone, or the ability to re-roll and tailor it to your playstyle?" And if you don't know what they're referring to, in that photo there, if you zoom in under the attribute section, it says specifically that the Sacrum Imperium has a random third attribute. And this is obviously very notable because this is the first exotic to do it that way. Every other exotic that we've ever had in the Division 2 has fixed rolls across the board. They might come at different values, but whatever specific stat it has is what everyone has. And so we finally got confirmation on this. There had been a lot of speculation on if this could be a bug or not, because people were discovering that when you went and reconfigured the Sacrum Imperium at the crafting station, it was giving out random attributes every time you did it. Obviously, I assume if you acquired a new one via a world drop, it would also have a random attribute there. So because there's no other exotic that works like that, people figured, oh, well, it might as well be a bug. However, this tweet finally confirms that it's not. And I think it is absolutely important that they are asking this question in the tweet of which do we prefer, because I have almost no doubt that they are contemplating implementing this for all future exotics that we get in year 5 and onwards. And so in the case that they are asking for feedback, I wanted to give my perspective on this discussion, because I'm actually somebody who's been a big proponent of exotics having some more variety ever since their introduction back in year 1. In that, yes, I think exotics should have random third attributes. Look at it this way, at least this is how I look at it. Static rolls mean that exotics are a one and done. It means that once you farm for one and you have it, there's no reason whatsoever that you would ever care to go out and get another one of that. There's a reason to get exotic duplicates just in general to deconstruct them for exotic components, but there's really absolutely no reason to have a duplicate of a certain exotic, right? Because they're all going to have the exact same thing, and that's very different to how they were handled back in the Division 1, where the majority of what an exotic could roll with was random. This increased build variety, it increased the amount of total playstyles you could potentially incorporate into things, and with certain exotics in the Division 2, if they had random rolls, you can make them much more viable than they currently are. Look at the Backfire, which has, what, magazine size as its attribute? That's terrible, and I always thought that that was such an odd way to go about designing these exotics when the devs control every single aspect of the gun. Why give something magazine size when you can choose what the magazine is set at as a static mod that you're attaching? So if I was suddenly able to go out and get a Backfire with damage to targets out of cover, that could suddenly become much more powerful. So I understand that not everybody will love the idea of this change. It would inherently mean more of a grind in the game, but I do think that it's not, terribly impactful to the current exotics that you already have. Like, ultimately, would having an Eagle Bear with damage to targets out of cover be more powerful than the one with headshot damage that we currently have? Yes, but someone not having that isn't going to mean the difference between them, being able to compete in a raid or something and not, right? I think the one fair criticism is that doing this retroactively for all the old exotics would come into conflict with the expertise system. How do you warrant introducing this new system when players have already put so much materials into certain exotics that are high levels in expertise? That's certainly fair, and they would maybe have to come up with a workaround for that. However, in general, again, if the devs are looking for perspectives on this potential change in the future, whether it is retroactively for all old exotics or if it's just something they might implement for exotics moving forward, I am a big supporter of exotics getting random rolls on the third attribute. It creates an actual purpose for exotic farming, it creates a potential for increased build diversity, and it's just plain fun. Who doesn't like more creativity in their build making? So that's my take, folks. I would be very interested to hear yours down below. What do you think of them asking about this preference in the tweet? Do you think that they are potentially considering adding random exotic rolls to either more exotics in the future or even retroactively to all the ones we have in the game? And why or why not would you be a supporter of that? I know there's probably going to be a lot of different angles, so as always, I will be very curious to read through all of your thoughts down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Ow.